Hello, my fellow readers. This is I, Dark Symphony, Someone with another fanfiction review. As always, a link to the story will be in the description below. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, click on that bell for notifications, leave a comment in the comment section below on your thoughts on the story, and finally, this is my opinion. My opinion is not indicative of everyone in the world, so please respect that. So, I finished the story about a week ago, but I wanted to finish the Luniverse as a whole and review all those stories together. Don't worry, there's going to be 3 videos. It's going to be this fic is going to be one video. These 2 are going to be the second video, and then these 3 are going to be the last video. This one is the big one, the very big one. Contest of Champions by that guy Vex. Oh my god, I was not expecting a story of this caliber from the Luniverse, because for all intents and purposes, the Luniverse doesn't really delve into really complex stories. They're usually very run-of-the-mill, structured similar to how Friendship with Magic is structured for the most part. And while there is some more adult plots, they usually don't really have a bunch of moving pieces. Like for example, at the Grand Galloping Gala, we know that the whole point of the story is to basically get money to I don't know why I'm stuttering, for Trixie and the main 6 to get money from Nightlight in order to help finance and rebuild Ponyville. And so they have to go to the Grand Galloping Gala in order to do this whole situation so they can deal with the Night Court as a whole. And there's not really a lot of moving pieces to it. There is Zazine in that fic, but she's ultimately a very minor part of that story. And ultimately, it's not that complex. I would say that would be the most complex out of everything up to Contest of Champions and even after Contest. But Contest itself, holy shit, this story is a monstrously complex story. This author just went ham with how overly complex the story is and making it work in the context of the world it's supposed to be in. And I have to tip my hat off to the author. So what is the plot about? Well, the plot started over 1,000 years ago. There once was an apprentice of Luna who was eager to show her stuff. So, one day, this apprentice found this big, gigantic vase called Rengoku, meaning purgatory. And as she examined it, she started going mad. What did she do? She retrofitted Rengoku with all this anti-alicorn weaponry, lifted it off the ground, turned it into a flying mothership, and basically said, "I'm going to take over Equestria." This was before Celestia went mad. Celestia and Luna went against this apprentice and the ship and lost horribly. They could not do any damage to Rengoku at all. No matter what they threw at it, they just could not. They could not get down. So they had a plan. They found these champions from all across the world of Sienna and asked them, "We will hold Rengoku in place. You will go in Rengoku, and you will take down the apprentice." 13 champions went into Rengoku. 2 left. In honor of the sacrifices for those 11 who passed, and eventually the other 2 who would pass away at a future time. Luna and Celestia. They bury them in this place called the Isle of the Lost. And they set up this big worldwide tournament, this contest of champions. That would occur once every 100 years with the sole purpose of taking all these different nations, all these different cultures, all these different mindsets and warriors, and blending them together to meet and greet and and showcase what they're about to other cultures, even if they never heard of it, and let them become friends. And even also engage in like a jolly contest that they can brag about. This fic happens on the 13th anniversary of the incident. The contest of champions has started anew, and Luna selects the main six as a whole to journey to the Isle of the Lost with Luna to conjoin in this contest. Along with them are many other cultures, such as Aldia with their unicorn supremacy, and Naqual, the camels, who have all these jinns and stuff. But those two are not important. What is important are the other named countries, the Minotaurs, with their reckless abandon and their obsession with flexing, brother, and technology over the idea of even the attempted idea of magic. The great forests of Elkheim, filled with warrior elks and gigantic moose, who love a good fight, who thirst on the idea of battle, and who see this contest as a way to show their culture off to the Griffin Kingdoms, or more specifically, the Inner Kingdoms, who are using the contest as a chance to start a bloody civil war, and the only one who can stop them is a young Griffiness renegade who runs a mercenary group in the Border Kingdoms, and she's the only one who can stop them. To the Zebras, who joined the contest of champions because one of them, Tendaji, has prior experiences with raindrops, and hopes to use the contest as a way to help this Tendaji cure an uncurable sickness. And finally, the country of Shoma, a land far east where not even Luna knows that much details. A young woman, a young Kiran, named Dao Ming, enters the contest of champions with the sole purpose of bringing not only honor to her family, not only bringing honor to the country of Shoma, but also so that way she can look at her mom and hear the words that she's been wanting for so long. I'm proud of you. It is these groups, their various members, young, old, male, female, they come together and they compete for the sole purpose, well, various different purposes. Most of them are just there to have fun, but some of them are there for other reasons. Now, I apologize for having to get verbose with that, but it's to sell the entire scene of what is going on. The Luna Main Six travel to the Isle of Lost with Luna and their various members. Braindrop brings her family, and Lyra brings her girlfriend. And they interact with the other cultures. However, they find out that as the contest goes on, there are various groups and in the island that is trying to reawaken Rengoku. They don't know why. They don't know how they're going to do it. Just that they're trying to get access to this gigantic living bay fortress that is sleeping for 1,300 years. And what I like about this story is it's the complexity. Like this was the only Lunaverse fan fiction when I read it, when I went through the whole thing the first time. This was the only one that wasn't complete because I originally read the Lunaverse as a whole around 2016. So, what? Yeah, around 2016, 2017. So most of these, so this fic was never really finished, which caused, which honestly, okay, honestly, the reason I wanted to do Lunaverse season 2 was because I found out this story specifically was finished, and I wanted to review it. The complexity of this story is very, very well done because there's a lot of moving pieces in this story. Like like Grand Galloping Gala had some moving pieces, like everyone trying to manipulate Zizzling and Greengrass and also kind of Pinkie Pie kind of getting Bluebud kind of getting lucked into dealing with Pinkie Pie. That's one thing, but this story has about, I would say, about 20 moving pieces going on at the same time. You have the entire Luna Main Six. You have the zebras, mainly Tendaji, who is actually from the hero Oten, also written by this guy. You have his relationship with Rainbow, with Raindrops, because he's actually dying, and zebra culture, he's able to see like miasma or something like that, like sort of like it's sort of like a Tai Chi sort of thing because they're like, like I think Hindu, like a mix of African and Hinduism. I think. Not, I'm more likely wrong with that. Where Tendaji sees like this thing called a path, and his path and Rainbow and Raindrop's paths are actually going to interact. And in order for him to get cured, he needs to fight. He needs to finish what him and Raindrops started in Oten. So that's basically there. You have the Minotaurs, who has an entire storyline between the main Minotaur, Steel Cage, who's basically just, how can you see these muscles? I got those muscles on top of my muscles, on top of my muscles. Oh, yeah, flex. I even love the idea of the Minotaur culture as a whole, where they can go entire conversations just by flexing. Like body language is king for Minotaurs. Like you could, like the way their muscles flex, you can tell if they're angry or happy. It's like yeah. Glad we got along. What did you say? I had to go to the bathroom and he's in the way. So going back to Steel Cage. The Steel Cage plotline is actually between Cheerilee and also Iron Will. If you don't know who Iron Will is, he's actually a canon character from Friendship's Magic. He's the one who did who taught Rainbow Dash how to not Rainbow Dash. He was a inspirational speaker, and he's the one who did the episode where I can't remember what the episode was called, where Fluttershy took a class of his, and she basically turned angry and aggressive because she was listening to his words. But in this story, he's actually a wandering sales minotaur, basically, who's wanting to show the whole world minotaur culture. And the conflict is about that Steel Cage and Iron Will were actually friends, and minotaur culture has a very stagnated state where once you pick this one thing, you're stuck with this one thing for the rest of life. You don't have flexibility. I will realize my path in life is to travel the world to kind of show to open up Minotaur culture to other cultures. And Steel Cage didn't like that, especially since he will be leaving the Minotaur lands. So he goes to the Contest of Champions because he has a gut feeling that Iron Will be there, and he finds out that Charlie is actually friends with him. They apparently Charlie and Iron Will actually was in a relationship, and he took very much umbrage for that. So there's a rivalry between Steel Cage and Charlie as they're trying to fight for like what Iron Will wants to do. Steel Cage wants to drag Iron Will back home. Charlie wants Iron Will to kind of keep wandering around Equestria, kind of trying to open up Minotaur culture to everyone and hopefully save their kind. You have the Elks, and they have like two storylines with the main six. You have Andrea and like her little rivalry with Lyra. Basically Lyra and Andrea are both bards, and so it's like, oh, you're a bard, I'm a bard. Let's have a music. Let's see whose music is better. You also have Sigurd, who takes a liking to Derpy, who because of plotline things. Because I'll talk about that when I got to talk about Sigurd. There's a lot of characters to go through. And then finally, you have Prince Frederick, who is a royal of Elkheim, who kind of actually falls in love with Carrot Top. And I actually like the little storyline between Frederick and Carrot Top, and I think it's very wholesome in the fact that they're just very awkward with each other because Frederick's whole character is kind of like he's kind of a dunce, not really stupid, but more like reckless because he's like, okay, so what would so if there's a wyvern coming out, what would Frederick do? He'd probably jump in the thing's mouth. Why? Because he could. He could take it out from inside, and that's Frederick's entire thing. He means well. He's just kind of reckless because he wants to do more with his station. He's kind of like kind of stuck with what I have. And then he apparently falls in love with Carrot Top, and Carrot Top even reciprocates the feelings. Like, this is actually a very wholesome relationship. Like a big chunk of the story is dedicated to just building up this relationship, and then the creeping realization that they'll never actually get together because not only are they from completely different areas, like Elkheim is apparently not even on the continent where Equestria is, meaning a very long distant relationship. But also the fact that Carrot Top still wants to get, in essence, still wants to be a farmer because that's what she loves. I want to be a farmer. I don't want to live in this other country because I have to be a knight. Not only do I have to be a farmer, but she's also a knight of Equestria, which means she wouldn't be able to pursue this relationship. And I even like the nice touch that at the end, both of them realizes the very significant flaws that such a relationship would bring, and they both agree. It's like, we'll just be friends, and it's like, but you're welcome. You're welcome anytime in Elkheim. Don't cry, Carrot Top. I know. I just know we'll always remember. We'll always have memories, especially when we find love with our own kind. And it's actually a very emotional relationship because it's told like a very realistic way. It's like they know they're gonna, if they do pursue a relationship, it would inevitably fall apart, and it would be heartbreak. So they break it off when they have the chance before it goes any farther, and even agreeing to stay friends. I think it's a very sweet storyline. I think it's just very it's very nice. Then you have the Griffins, who honestly have like their own completely story. Like there's two storylines that are like completely separate from the main storyline. There's in essence three main storylines. There's the main storyline involving the people who are trying to break into Rengoku and wake it up. There's the first side storyline, which involves the Minotaurs and Cheryl. And then there's the second storyline that involves Gwendolyn, who is a inner kingdom Griffin Royale, who wants to bring unity to the inner kingdoms and the border kingdoms. So basically, uh, a lot of the Griffin kingdoms are border countries, and they're completely attacked by like bandits and monsters. So Gwendolyn started this entire group where she hired all these people, and they call themselves the Red Shields. And what they do is they go to the border areas and they help protect people, usually for either for like a small fee or usually even like for free. However, all that entire group is filled with inner kingdom Griffins who also believe that the inner and border kingdoms should unite into one unilateral Griffin kingdom. However, the royal that's coming to the contest, King Gruber, does not approve of this at all because he's kind of like a despot. And that storyline is all about him, Gwendolyn kind of realizing the fact that she has what it takes to possibly become the new ruler of the Griffin Kingdom, and realizing that she needs to actually be more proactive of trying to unite the two sides of the kingdom. And Grouper is basically the main conflict of that specific storyline, with the eventual reveal that while they're in the contest, he's actually getting a lot of missives to the Griffin Kingdoms and trying to start a massive civil war to basically kill all of Gwendolyn's troops. And it's a really good storyline. It's not really that deep compared to the main one and the Minotaurs, because it's ultimately just a side thing that only really affects one specific character. But even like Luna gets involved, and it's like I do not want war because the Griffin Kingdom is like the one closest to Equestria. They're pretty much just neighbors. So if the Griffin Kingdom suffers in war, then Equestria are probably going to get royally have to get involved some way somehow. And finally, you have Dao Ming, who is the sole representative of Shoma. And I really like her storyline, where it's very secular, but it involves a lot of everyone around them, as everyone realizes that all Dao Ming wants. Like that's the only thing she genuinely wants is her mother's approval, because unlike every other relationship, this one's kind of very steeped in like Asian stereotypes, because the whole if you ever watch like any Stephen He video, like he makes fun of like how Asian basically makes fun of Asian parents and how they raise their kids. So like, okay, you're gonna be failure. It's like I got an A. What's your percentage? 98. 98%. Oh, you're stupid then. Where's the 2%? Where's the other 2%? You left it right there in the microwave. I'm completely bad at that. Just don't blame me, Stephen. Here, don't sue me, please. Don't do it. I'm just a little boy. But okay, but more or less, Dao Ming's whole thing is that she was raised by a completely uncaring mother who was so obsessed with trying to push the idea of what an emperor of Shoma should be, that she completely just neglected and treated not only Dao Ming but also her adopted siblings like complete shit. And so Dao Ming is using the contest as like her last chance to try and get some sort of approval from her mother. Doesn't matter what it is, any sort of thing. Even like you did a good job. Like even that. And all of these plot lines, all these characters and everything, all interact throughout the contest and all these moving pieces. And I haven't talked about every single character. Like there's a shit ton of characters from the Luna main six to Luna herself to Corona, because Corona actually shows up and actually brokers a peace because she realizes this is the contest of champions is going on, and then she's like even openly admits I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to watch the whole thing, and then once that's over, I'm going to leave. Which Corona actually does once the contest is over. I'm just leaving. Bye. Whew. I did what I promised what I said I was going to do. I'm going to do it. I did it. Goodbye. Even like a lot of the characters, like Frederick, even the characters I didn't mention, like Grey Hoof and Ken Kudo, and also the mighty Wudan. Oh, the mighty Wudan and his bosses and his rooms. Like I just love Wudan. Just picture a giant fuck you moose built with muscles, covered in runes because Elkheim is like based off Scandinavia and like Viking culture, so they have like the runes and stuff, and he's also like a very lovable guy, like even to the point where like they asked Princess Luna, it's like, okay, Luna, how did you meet him? It's like, I will tell you. Yes, he fell on me. He fell on you. Yes, Trixie. Why did he? How did he fall on you? He was climbing a mountain. Why was he climbing a mountain? He claims he was looking at him funny, so he decided to climb up it to show who's boss. He lost, and then he fell and landed on me. He said I was a good cushion. I love Udon. I'm sorry, I love Udon. He's just a hilarious, hammy character. He's just he's just fun incarnate, and like even like the quirks of the characters, like when the Crow, Rengo, not Rengoku, Kenroku, basically quoting the Tenshinhan said, yes. It's like, is that what he really said? No, I'm trying to think of something. It's like, yes. Like constantly referencing, like constantly quoting Tenshinhan, and even the character, even like Dao Ming, like her defrosting ice queen, when she acts like a very standoffish Kira, and then once she realizes through interacting with Trixie, because like her whole thing is like, where are the champions of Equestria? It's like, we are the champions of Equestria. You are? Yes. Why are you wearing a hat? Because I'm a magician. Is this a joke? It's like, okay, so what are the rest of you? I'm a teacher. I'm a farmer. Weather mayor. Mailman. A bard. And even like Grimwald, who's like a very obviously evil person, because his whole thing is like, oh, I'm just he's like a sociopathic griffin who takes like an interest in dirt because like, oh, I like your eyes. Mind if I stab him? No. Good. You want me to stab? All right. Let's swing. Like, no, stop swinging my hands. But come on, this is how I treat everyone. Like, yeah, how are you doing? Hey, I like, no, this is the knife what I use when I'm having fun. This is the knife when I'm trying to be serious. Huh? So I'm just going around. Just let me swing it at you. You can dodge. So see how this goes. It's all the characters. Every single character from Trixie to Lyra to even the characters like the Empress and Corona, and even like Kindle and Terra Wing, because they get involved because they're trying, because even Celestia's like, I'm not taking a chance with Rengoku. It took a hell of a lot to just take that thing down the first time. I'm not taking that fucking chance again. And there's not every character in this story has like a very deep character. Like Grey Hoof is very just kind of there to do like a kind of have like a the whole idea like far seeing and they kind of get the alt kind of get Kenroku involved. Uh, and like even like some of the character like well, the zebras most are like the only I would say bad character because they're like because you have Tendaji who's the only good character because this whole thing with wanting to finish what he started with Raindrops. There's his wife Aisha who's only really there because she finds out that Zikora is going to be there. So it's like I want to have fucking words with Zikora. You have this animal tamer who has this gigantic scorpion, and she's kind of like there, which is fine. And then you have Nuru, who is Tendaji's father-in-law, and this is the only character I kind of have to call out for being bad. The reason being is he's one of the villains. Basically, the villains are basically just a hodgepodge of different species who are basically trying to awaken Rengoku for like different reasons. So you have Grimworld, who's basically just got doing this because he just wants to have fun because his whole thing is he's a sociopathic asshole, and his reason's selfish. You have Andrea, the deer, who's basically doing it because she's worried that her culture is going to become stagnant because the last hero that was like introduced to Elkheim was Wudan, and that was like years ago, and she's hoping to use this entire scenario to try and breed like a new generation of heroes to sing and write songs about because she is a bard. You have the leader, which is Abscess Serene, who's actually the leader of the monks that run the island. And her whole thing is that she basically knows of a way to get rid of Rengoku without destroying. Because the thing with Rengoku, as the reason why Luna and Celestia couldn't destroy it is because the core that operates the entire system has a dead man switch attuned to Celestia and Luna's magic specifically. If either of them try and do anything with the core, it goes off and completely wipes like hundreds upon thousands of miles, completely gone. So after the incident happens, Luna establishes this whole monk organization with the sole purpose of studying magic to try and find out how to shut down Rengoku without triggering the dead man switch. Abscess Serene figures out that since that Cadence's magic is not attuned to the dead man switch because she was created after Rengoku was made. So she's using Cadence's magic in the hopes of like to completely disengage and reduce the explosion that Rengoku would leave by having one of the other conspirators, Tomoko, operate Rengoku, lift it up, take it to what is called the Deadlands, which is this gigantic, disgusting patch in like eastern Shoma that is slowly covering the land in decay. Bring it to like the middle of the Deadlands, set it off, and hopefully Cadence's magic can contain it enough that it deals with the Deadlands as well as Rengoku. The only reason she's having to do it this way is because she realizes that if she proposes this specific idea to Luna would just completely just say no because it's too dangerous and too risky. So she is willing to take the risk, even get herself killed, in order to try and like finish the job that she had her entire life dedicated to, and also her entire group's or like foundation for existing, and finish that job and make everyone happy. Then you have Tomoko, who honestly is the only one only bad guy who technically won, because the reason she's getting involved is she was legitimately tired of their mother, the Empress, kind of abusing the royal family, including Dao Ming. So she did this entire thing with the hopes of making the Empress have such a shame. Basically, she wants to shame the Empress so badly, and of the biggest attempt of shame through this that the embarrassment would completely have her leave the Empress position in embarrassment, and allow Dao Ming, not Tomoko, because she even realizes I'm not good enough to be Empress. But do you know who is good enough? Dao Ming. So she did all this. Hopefully, when Rengoku blows up, she can go march up to everyone in Shoma and say, Dao Ming did this. She saved, ended the Deadlands, and basically have everyone believe that Dao Ming is the Empress. It's a very it's a mostly selfless motivation. That's what I honestly like about the villains, is their motivations are completely different, and some of them are genuinely altruistic, like Serene's and Tomoko's. And then you have selfish like Andrea and Grimwald. Nuru is kind of in the middle. Nuru's motivation for the whole thing is he realized that Tendaji's fight with raindrops won't cure the disease. So in an act of desperation, Abscess Serene, hires him and say, "Hey, Rengoku has this room that has all these things that can cure anything." So Nuru joined the bad guys with the hope of trying to find this room, which does actually exist, and get Tendaji in one of the tubes in order to cure him, so that way Tendaji and Aisha can live happily ever after and have a family and all that. It is kind of selfless and kind of selfish, because he's trying to force the whole thing on Tendaji, unlike Tomoko, who at least has good enough reasoning for it, because she's trying to legitimately do a good thing with trying to get rid of Rengoku, because it is an act, because the Deadlands is a very dangerous thing in her country. And again, she does win, because at the end of the story, the Empress does reveal that I'm stepping down. You aren't the Empress. In 1 year time, you'll take my spot. And I can just completely rest. Nuru's is selfish because he's trying to oppose himself on someone who doesn't want to be opposed. Like, say what you want about Dao Ming. A big part of her character is that she does want to be Empress, but she wants to earn her mother's favor first. Meanwhile, Tendaji, because of zebra culture, doesn't want to stray from the path, and his path will take him through raindrops and all that. And Nuru is trying to intercede and intercept that in order to make his daughter happy, because he's actually Aisha's father, he's Tendaji's father-in-law. It is a very believable character. The problem is Nuru's not involved in this story. He's just not involved. All the other characters are reoccurring characters. Tomoko is constantly, whenever they focus on the Kirin, Tomoko's there. Whenever it focuses on either Lyra or the Elk, Andrea's there. Grimwald appears a lot, either through Ditzy, Gwendolyn, Sigurd, or even Dao Ming sometimes, and even something about the island that needs to be explained. Sister Serene is the one explaining it. Nuru, meanwhile, only really appears 4 times before the reveal, and one time he doesn't say anything, because the story focuses on Aisha and Tendaji. The second time is when he's helping Aisha and Tendaji kind of explain to the raindrops like why Tendaji's here. Third time is his whole fight with Kenroku, which is basically just them standing around doing like poses and then immediately almost killing each other, like in a blink of an eye, and then just kind of moping about it. And the third time is during the Grand Melee, where him, Renkoku, and Greyhoof are basically just talking about like, oh, I sense a danger coming. Like, yes, and like they're and Kenroku and Nuro just playing a game of shogi and betting for like tokens or stuff like that. Nuru does like the idea for Nuru's character is there. The problem is he just doesn't appear enough that it kind of makes his character very flat in comparison to the other villains. The idea is there, and honestly, I think if he showed up more, like at least or hell, even have like another a section of the story dedicated to him and talking to Raindrops or him talking to someone and just focusing on Nuru's character, I think he could work better. I'm not saying that he's bad, like he's not completely irredeemable as a character because he does there is a solid idea and foundation behind him. It's just compared to everyone else, he's just very lacking. But back to other significant characters, I think Steel Cage is very hilarious. Iron Will is very well done. All the villains besides Nero are incredibly well done with their various motivations and also how they interact with each other and interact with the other characters. The Empress is a really big bitch. Uh, Dao Ming's interactions with Gwendolyn because they become friends, and also her begrudging respect of Trixie that does become legitimate respect as the story goes on when she realized that Trixie's earned her title, and even like Sigurd's revealed that he's basically seeing Ditsy as like a kid that he doesn't have because he actually had a son. He was trying to teach him how to be a soldier, and then his son got killed, and he's kind of like taken it bad ever since, and to the point where he finds out that Ditsy like passes out because Grimwald actually has like a special dagger made from the Fae that if it touches someone, they just completely get knocked out like immediately. All it needs is like a single scratch, just completely gone. He just becomes like a raging alcoholic, and he just because he realizes he let another person he started to care about down, just like his son, and it's such a trigger to him. I think this all the characters interact really well, and even like a lot of the characters because like with like redirections and red herrings, every single character is like up for like who's a bad guy except for Grimwald. He's like an obvious bad guy. That's like the whole thing with him. He's like, yeah, I'm the bad guy. Thumbs up. And they, at least like foreshadowing towards Andrea being evil too. But you have to be paying attention. Meanwhile, Tomoko, Nuru, and Abscess Serene, they're all meant to be twist villains. There is, I think, like a single hint that Tomoko might have been shady, but that was like intended to be like a double meaning. Like you don't know whether or not it's foreshadowing or not, which I think is clever. I think every single character aside from Nuru and even Nuru is not that bad. Is incredibly well done. In terms of grammar error, every grammar error completely fine. I don't think there is no way. There is some instances of brackets. What are they? Like brackets. These appearing throughout parts of the story, but that's really it in terms of grammar errors that I can remember off the top of my head. Pacing, these chapters are very long, but the pacing is so perfect, and the structure of the whole thing, constantly not focusing on any specific plot line, any group's characters that long to keep everything moving, and also keeping like the redirections happening, so you don't know who exactly the villain, who's like part of the villain's coalition. I think they're all really done well. All the storylines just blend very like just superfluously perfect. That it's a charm to read through, and outside of I can't find any like big faults with the story because it's just everything blends together in such a way that just screams, "Oh, oh, this story, these characters, these plots, everything is perfect." This story is a better off alone tier. I don't even have to say what I recommended. That alone tells you this story is worth its weight in gold. If there's any story from the Lunaverse, I would implore you, I would beg you to read, it's this one. It's long, but the length makes the entire event worth it. Is there anything I would fix? Honestly, just fix Neuro. Just add another scene where Neuro's like the focus, so that way you can at least flesh out his character. Get rid of the brackets that are like periodically seen through like near the end of the story. That's it. Favorite part? There's a lot. There's a lot of parts I actually like. Steel Hooves and Charity's fight, which is basically just a wrestling match, complete with Charity posing, is one such thing. Simply for, come on, it's a wrestling match. I'm a wrestling fan, and picturing Charity right here, like doing Minotaur flexing and saying, "I will teach you what is worth it, brother." And like Steel Cage is completely getting like, "What did you say?" No, in Minotaur culture, men and women, in one of these battles, everyone's a brother, and like they're just going ham and like. Even like they set up the arena of like being like a wrestling ring, and they like look at Abscess Serene. It's like, seems fitting. Go on. And it's very ridiculous. A lot of fights are actually really well done. These have some of the better fights I've seen in fanfiction in a while. Not only Charlie versus Steel Cage, Tendaji versus Raindrops was very entertaining. Dao Ming versus Gwendolyn was very well done. Dao Ming versus the main six in the Grand Melee, that was really well done. Even Wudan gets into it because Wudan, yes, give us more Wudan. Yeah. Is entertaining, but there is one specific part that I want to highlight. It's in this chapter. I just gotta get to it. It's near the bottom. Yeah, here it is. Where does she call it? Yeah, the Ballad of the Harmonic Knights. This ballad, to put it in perspective, this takes place during the contest of art. Basically, there's different challenges. There's art. There is magic. There is strength, and there is the mind. These four. Oh, and also the Grand Melee, who's basically just like a fun thing to kind of set everything off. This is the end of the contest of art. They decide that Lyra is going to perform her first original composition, the Ballad of the Harmonic Knights, to the people of the contest. And oh my god, this part is just legitimately beautiful. From the setup of like Lyra wanting to wow everyone, to Trixie kind of being off the side playing like a shadow puppet version of the the finale of the very first like longest day, longest night, where the main six go into the Everfree Forest to try and defeat Corona. Everything about this story, I think, is quite possibly the best use of a song and music in any fan fiction I ever seen. It's just like, and then there's the ballad itself. Come on, this just I legitimately cried from how well written this was because it just how it goes into your soul and just the setup of Lyra and even the members of Elkine, Andrea, Sigurd, and Wudon, they actually get involved and aid in the music because they realize what they're seeing is like complete art, and they just aid in what I stamping their booze and beer on a table. Like there came a night when the sun did rise, and there was no harmony. When the land did hold its breath in fear, for there was no harmony. Like it, and it's not even just this. Like the wordplay, the descriptions. It was just it, it's such a hard thing to describe because it plays so perfectly with your emotions, it brings you into the world like nothing else, and even the symbolic meaning. Like this is where you see like they realize they all realize what like in their heart of hearts that they're not a teacher, a magician, a mail person, a weather person, a farmer, and a bard. They are knights. They are heroes. They are the elements of harmony, and it really it just plays into that idea, showcasing like how everything has blended together and like a cultural melting pot with like the other like everyone just kind of stopping and just like leaving the other exhibits to just watch them because of just what's happening, and the members of Elkheim just getting involved because they hear the whole thing and they realize this is art, this is art, this is art. It's such a it's one of those things that I never thought I would see ever, and that it's a of witnessing such a beautiful use of music to tell a story. I think that's what these musical things should always be. Instead of just music for the sake of music, it should be used to tell a part of a story. Like it's why I liked when Total Alternate Island when they were singing Thousand Miles because that was done to tell a story. It wasn't a song for the sake of a song, which is what a lot of these stories that use songs do. But it became a genuine part of the story that added to it. And I think this story does it better than anything I've ever seen. Um, is there anything else I would add about this story? Honestly, I do know that this author was like the last Luniverse. I think he did say he wants to do more Luniverse. So I think he's probably just gonna end up going it alone because I think at this point this was the last Luniverse story finished, and he's kind of like on his own if he continues on. What like there would be two things I would want like if he did another Luniverse story. There's two things I would want. One, to finish season two. Just I don't care how it is, just do the Discord thing. Like we know that Discord's going to be the final boss. Have that be the thing. Don't even do season three. Just have Discord be the end all be all. The universe ends after that, or you can retch in the past and tell a story of how Grey Hoof and Nuru and Kenroku actually met. Like that would be honestly be a very interesting story. with like a tengu, a zebra, and a minotaur walk into a bar. What do? They probably hit on people. And Greyhood's probably no Kenroku hitting on people. And then Greyhood's just kind of puts her nose, her between her eyes, like men. Like you could take that. There's a story to be told with those three, or even like other stories like focusing on Tendaji. Hell, or even better, you have a plotline because the story with Gwendolyn doesn't seem finished because it feels like, oh, you have a part two where Gwendolyn is gearing up for like war with the Inner Kingdom. So like it's the Griffin Civil War, and also Andrea and Grimwald are also agreed that they want to get involved with that. There's something there, but this story is legitimately a masterpiece. And yeah, that's really all I have to say about this story. This has been Dark Symphony 777, and